Hello, everybody. It's Matthew Street, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to one and all. So happy you're here, folks, and welcome to my end of the year 2024 Beatles Best Releases. Yes, folks. Now, there was a lot of stuff released regarding the Beatles in 2024. I'm talking Beatles related directly, solo Beatles related and directly, and ancillary Beatles releases related to the Beatles releases. Tons of stuff. I'm talking multimedia, films, documentaries, books, package sets, CDs, vinyl, record store day stuff. There were tons of Beatles related releases in 2024. So I thought I would compile my list of my top 5 favorite Beatles releases of 2024, and I'm going to throw in a couple of honorable mentions as well, folks. So here we go. Okay, folks. First honorable mention is a group that first came out in the 60s, and their relation to the Beatles is that they were one of the acts that played as an opener on the Beatles' 1966 World Tour. I'm talking about the Circle. Wow, folks. Two of the members that go way back to those early days, Michael Looskamp and Don Dannerman, are still out there fronting the Circle. They're still doing gigs. And what they did in 2024 was something very special. They released a brand new album called Revival. Yes, folks. And so I had to put that in one of my honorable mention Beatles-related releases of 2024. Check it out. It's a fine little album, folks. My next honorable mention goes to another hero from the British invasion in 60s rock and roll and pop music, and that is the great Billy J. Kramer. Yes, folks, Billy J. released a brand new album in 2024, and it gets an honorable mention for this year. It's called Are You With Me? And folks, it's a fine pop album. Billy did a bang-up job with this album. I think it's great. Check it out. Are You With Me by Billy J. Kramer. Second honorable mention. My next honorable mention is going to be related to John Lennon. On Record Store Day in 2024, John Lennon's estate released the Mind Games limited edition 4-song 12-inch EP on luminous, glow-in-the-dark, greenish colored vinyl. I thought it was pretty cool. It was also released on black vinyl. So I'm going to put that as an honorable mention for 2024. My next honorable mention for 2024 will be on July 2nd when the film or documentary, DVD, whatever you want to call it, called Revival 69, the concert that rocked the world, on DVD and Blu-ray. This was John Lennon playing. Remember that big show in Toronto? He played with Eric Clapton filling in. Alan White was there. Yoko. One of John's biggest live performances right at the end of his career with the Beatles. And a lot of the rock and roll pioneers like Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard played at that event, among others. And so I thought it should get an honorable mention that it was released on a nice DVD package this year. My next honorable mention is going to be the Beatles 64 documentary that was screened exclusively on Disney Plus not too long ago. Now, if you go back, you can see my reviews about it. And I really wasn't too thrilled with it, folks. Sorry to say, you can go see my official review of this documentary. But I felt because it is a nice way to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Beatles' arrival, not my favorite documentary, but I gave it an honorable mention for 2024. My next honorable mention for 2024 will be the one-hand clapping Paul McCartney and Wings documentary that was released to movie theaters not too long ago. I thought it's a fine film to see. Didn't make my top 5, but I thought the film of one-hand clapping should be in the top, honorable mentions anyway. So I put it in there. And my last honorable mention for 2024 and Beatles-related product that came out is the McCartney Legacy Volume 2 book. A fine book by Alan Kotson, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and Adrian Sinclair. They released a volume 1 not too long ago, which was a great book, but I think the honorable mention has to go also to the McCartney Legacy Volume 2. It's a fine book, recently came out, and it's my highest ranked book for 2024, so check it out, folks. Okay, now on to the top 5, and I'll be out of here, folks. Make this go as good as we can. Number 5, coming in at my number 5 for Matthew Street Top Beatles-related releases 2024 is the EP Ringo Starr, Crooked Boy. Folks, great EP. Linda Perry helped Ringo put it together, was very heavily involved in it. 4 songs, Gonna Need Someone, Crooked Boy, February Sky, and Adeline. Is it the best thing Ringo's ever done? No, but I thought it was a fine little EP, and I thought it was a good bounce back from a few of his earlier EPs, which are a little bit shaky for me. I thought Crooked Boy was pretty darn good, so it made my top 5 Beatle releases 2024 at number 5. At number 4, well, I just talked about the film of this making an honorable mention, but I have to say the LP and CD that came out of One Hand Clapping by Paul McCartney and Wings makes number 4 on my list this year. What a fine audio release. It's about time. It was cleaned up. It sounds fantastic. I absolutely adore it and love it, and I think it absolutely had to make my top 5 for 2024. Paul McCartney and Wings, the audio, CD or LP of One Hand Clapping. My number 3, top 3 now. This was tough between my 2 and 3, but in the end, this is the one that made number 3. George Harrison makes the top 5 at number 3 with his Living in the Material World 50th anniversary edition, or 51st, really, but 50th anniversary edition box set, deluxe set, and I think it's absolutely fabulous. Now, I only got the 2 CD deluxe set of this package, but I absolutely love my 2 CD set, and I'm happy for everyone else who got the bigger set with the CDs, with the book, with the vinyl. Fabulous. All around, the sound quality of Living in Material World was improved 100% for me. It made it a much better album. I love the extras in the second CD that I have. Wonderful extras. And folks, you can't beat it. So I had to make it top 5. Number 3, Living in the Material World by George Harrison, the new 50th anniversary edition. Number 2. Well, it was back and forth between this and George's release, but in the end, I really have to say the Lennon estate knows how to do it right with these box sets, with these packages. No, not the Cube, not the Super Deluxe Cube. That's a monstrosity, an abomination. I don't like it. You've heard me talk about the Cube. Don't like it. But the John Lennon Mind Games archival box set, 72 tracks, on 6 CDs and 2 Blu-rays. You can't beat it, folks. They improved the mix of this album, Mind Games, so much, similar to Living in the Material World, that I love the album that much more. I loved all the extras. Absolutely fine release from the John Lennon estate. John Lennon makes number 2 with his Mind Games archival box set. Love it. And last but not least, what do you think made number 1? Well, folks, I don't have the actual thing I'm talking about here, but I do have a piece of it that is my absolute favorite. Number 1, Beatles, top Beatles release for 2024 from Matthew Street is the Beatles 1964 U.S. albums in mono box set. Absolutely had to make number 1 for me, folks. I grew up on these albums. I love these albums. They've been remastered and redone, and the packaging is beautiful. And I'm not a big fan of the box set where you're paying all that $300 to get a box and the Beatles story. But as far as the 6 albums being released individually, absolutely had to make number 1. And my absolute number 1 favorite of all that is the Meet the Beatles Target exclusive on blue vinyl. That is my personal absolute favorite. But all in all, the Beatles make number 1 this year with the U.S. albums being released in mono. I love it. I think it's absolutely fabulous. So that's it, folks. That is the Matthew Street Beatles top releases of 2024, either related to the Beatles, solo Beatles, or the actual Beatles. I hope you enjoyed my list. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, glad you could be here. And please, folks, if you want more content like this, you want me to keep working hard and pushing out the material and the product, as it were, please subscribe to my channel, like, share, comment. I would really appreciate it, folks. It helps my growth of my channel, and it helps things going forward big time. Thanks again, folks. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.